Alright, y'all. Welcome to our first flipped classroom lesson. It should be Thursday the 7th. We're watching this, or I guess for homework on the Wednesday the 6th. But yeah, this is going to go through. It's going to be a work in progress, but we're going to make it work. It's going to be really awesome. You just got to commit. It's going to be awesome. Okay? So what we're talking about today is we're going to continue or go back to our discussion on circles. Alright? So remember, we've done circles in the past. We talked about them. We did things with angles and arc length and all that stuff. We're not going to do all that right now. What we're going to be looking at is circles on a graph. Okay? So the first thing we want to look at is we are going to start off with the properties of a circle. Okay? So if you remember, a circle has a center. Okay? The center is where all the points are equidistant from. So I guess that's a good definition. So a circle is a collection of points. It's a collection of points equidistant from a center. Okay? And so we have this circle. We have a center. All right, so we can go and just draw our center over here. It's just going to be a dot for now. We're going to do things with it in a second. Okay? So we have our center. From here, what we're going to do... All right, sorry for the jump in the video. I had to pause it for a second. Okay? But basically, from the center, we're going to talk about this equidistant. Okay? So equidistance means they're all the same distance away. So you can do whatever you want to measure it out, or just eyeball it. So I'm just going to go about that far out, about that far out, and put a dot, and do it again over here. And we know that this is actually not just a few dots, but there's a ton of dots, like literally infinite dots here. And I'm just going to eyeball the rest of them, there, and there. You see how they're all about the same distance from the center? And then we can just hand circle it, okay? So now we got a circle. Go ahead and catch up to that. And during these videos, I'm going to tell you at certain times when you need to pause, but other than that, you can just pause whenever you need to. And just make sure that you're getting it down and understanding what's happening, okay? And so we have our center. And all these points are equidistant away, okay? And that equidistant, that how far away it is, it's called our radius, okay? So our radius is how far away each of these points are. So the distance from here to here is a radius. It's an r. Okay? And that distance is the same as the distance from center to this point. That's also r away. Okay? And we have tons of radiuses. From here, we have various things like a diameter and other things, but really the center and the radius are the two things that we're going to concern ourselves with most right now. Okay? So if you don't know what center and radius is, look it up or raise your hand and ask a question if you're in class. But yeah, or write down, yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay? If you don't know something, if you're unsure about something, just write down the question, and so you can come into class with a question. Okay? Cool. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the equation for a circle. Okay, so just like we have an equation for a line, we're going to have equations for circles. So we can graph circles. Okay? There's two main forms we're going to look at equations of circles in. The first one that we're going to look at is standard form. Okay, so standard form. Standard form is the form that gives us our important information. Okay, with standard form, we can find, it gives us our center and our radius. Okay? And we're going to go over how to get that. So important thing right now is what is standard form. So standard form equation looks like this. We're going to have an x minus h, and we're going to square it. Then we're going to add in a y minus k. Okay? And then square it. So x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. All right? This is our standard form. There's a few things that are important in this. So the important features are obviously our x and y, because those are going to tell us our coordinates. And so whenever we're doing this, our x and y are going to stay as variables. So let's just highlight that. And they're going to stay as variables. There's a 50% chance I spelled that right. So x and y are going to stay as variables, okay? Then from there, other pieces of information, okay? We're going to have our h. Our h is going to tell us where our center is. Specifically, it's going to tell us our x-coordinate for our center, because you notice how it's aligned with an x, so it's going to be the x-coordinate of our center. Sorry, rocking the boat here. X coordinate of center. Okay? So h is our x coordinate of our center. That means k is going to be the y coordinate of our center. Okay? So we got our x coordinate of center, our y coordinate of the center, and what do you think r is? We've labeled r in the past. So if you guessed right, r is our radius. And yeah, our radius is how we know how big our circle is. Okay? And so if you look at that, we can get all our information about our graph of our circle. We know where our center is, and we know what the radius is. So we can graph our circle just with this equation. Okay? And so what a graph might look like, I'm just scrolling down here a little bit. All right? So you have your coordinate plane. Remember our h is our x coordinate of our center, so I'm going to go over h in the positive direction. I'm going to go up k in the positive direction. This will change depending on what they are. I'm going to put my center down. Then we know what our radius is. Our radius is r. And so I'm just going to go over r. Go over r, go down r, go up r, and draw a nice little circle. Ideally that would be perfectly symmetrical, but we live with what we have. Okay? So this right here, this distance right here is r. Okay? And then this point right here, this point that's in the center of our circle is our center, and the coordinates of this point are h, comma k. Okay? So right now, pause the video. Well, I guess wait till I'm done with instructions, but we're going to go back, and I want you to just go in and reread these notes and think about what questions do I have right now, and then write them down. Write them down, set them aside, and then we will come back to them whenever you come into class. Okay? Unless, of course, they aren't answered through the rest of the video. Great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a few practice problems. Just take out that worksheet that I gave you. Should have equations of circles practice at the top. Okay? And we're just going to go through this worksheet together. It's kind of hard to see, but with you having it and it being, this might make it a little better if I zoom in a little bit. Makes it a little bit bigger too. So, first thing I want to do when I'm thinking about these problems, I'm going to write down my standard form equation. So that way I can see my standard form equation and compare it to my equation I have here. Okay? So I'm just going to write right above this x minus 2 squared and this y plus 3 squared, I'm going to write my standard form, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So I just wrote in that equation, okay? And so now it's really easy for me to look and see what my h is, what my k is, okay? So if you look closely, this h and this 2 line up. Notice they both have a negative in front. That means it's going to stay as a positive 2. So my x-coordinate of my center is going to be at positive 2. Okay? Then I'm going to do my same thing. Let me see if I can straighten this out real quick. Sorry, y'all. I'm going to do the same thing for my y-coordinate. Okay? My y-coordinate is the equation is y minus 3. And you see we have a y minus k. So k and 3 correspond. So my y-coordinate is going to be a positive 3. Right there is the center of my circle. Okay? So center is 2, 3. Yeah? Then I'm going to go look at the other side of my equation. In my standard form, I have r squared. Okay? And I can see that r squared is 16. All right? R squared is 16. So that means r is going to be the square root of 16. R squared equals 16. So square root both sides. So r is going to be the square root of 16. So my radius is going to be 4. Okay? And so what I'm going to do to sketch it is I'm going to go for my center. I'm going to go over 4 in all directions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put my dot. 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 All right? And I'm just going to sketch a nice circular arch around. There it is. That's that first problem. Okay? From here, if you have any questions about this one right now, you can rewind the video, you can rewatch it. If that doesn't help you because I missed something or I explained something, just write down your question and bring it to class tomorrow. Okay? Cool. I'm going to move to the next one. First step, what I want to do is I want to be able to see my standard form equation with the equation I have to graph. So I'm going to write down x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Okay? So I can see with this equation, h and 1, it's a negative h, a negative 1. So h and 1 correspond. You see how the signs match, so we just take the 1. All right? So my x-coordinate for my center is going to be 1. My y-coordinate gets tricky. Okay? You see how in our standard form equation we have a minus k? It's y minus k. But in my equation I'm graphing, we have y plus 4. This one has a negative k. This one's positive. So to get them to line up, what you can think about is since the signs are different, I'm going to take the negative of this number. Okay? So my center is not going to be 4. It's going to be negative 4. If the signs don't match, you have to take the negative. If the signs do match like they did over here, you just take the 1. All right, so my center is 1, negative 4. Okay? Cool. Then our radius, we just match up our r squared with our 4. So r squared equals 4. I'll take the square root of both sides. Square root, r equals square root of 4. So r is going to equal to 2. So my center is 1, negative 4, and my radius is 2. So just like last time, I'm going to just go through and graph it. I'm going to go to 1, -4, put my center down. Then I'm going to go out 2 in each direction. I'll go over my radius 2. 1, 2, put a dot. 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 Yeah? Once I have my dots, once I have my guide points, I'm just going to go and make my circle. And of course it's a perfect circle because everyone's perfect all the time, right? Nah, it's okay if it's not perfect. So, moving on. Number 3. All right? I want to give y'all a little bit of time to practice this on your own. So go ahead and pause the video. See if you can do it on your own. Okay? If you can't, that's okay. We're still working on it. If you can, awesome. So pause the video and try it on your own. All right, cool. Hopefully your paper looks a lot different than mine because you just did it. Remember, the first thing I'm going to do is write the equation up top. If you don't need to, you don't need to. But I find it useful so I can just visually compare how they're going to look. So I'm going to write down x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Okay? So my center, my x-coordinate, my center, you see the signs don't match. The signs don't match, so I have to take the -3. So my x-coordinate is -3. My y-coordinate, the signs do match, so I'm just going to use the 1. So my center is -3 and 1. All right? From here, r squared. So r squared is 7. So r squared, sorry for the pen. R squared and 7 line up. So I'm going to just do r squared equals 7. Take the square root of both sides. We're going to have r equals square root of 7. Okay? And so we are just going to have to guesstimate how far square root of 7 is, but we'll be all right. So, graphing it, I'm going to go to center, -3, 1. -1, 2, 3, 1. Right there. Then it's square root of 7. I know that it is more than 2, but less than 3. So I'm just going to go right here. Ish. If you want to put in your calculator and make it exact, more power to you. But we're just sketching. So I just went 2 and a little bit in each direction. I drew my perfect circle, which gets hit by the tape. It's okay. So there's a circle. All right. This last one is kind of tricky. Once again, try it on your own. Pause the video. Do what you can do. Cool. So, how this is going to work is we're just going to go through, write our equation at the top, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. All right? So, this is where this one gets tricky. This x squared doesn't have any x minus h's. Doesn't have anything that you're subtracting out, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to say that that is the same as x minus 0 squared, of course. So this x is the same as x minus 0 because they're equal to each other, right? And so once we rewrite it as that, we can see that the 0 and the h line up. So my x-coordinate for my center is going to be 0. My y-coordinate you can do, just line up the k and the 4. The signs match, so we can just keep the 4. 0. If you haven't made this mistake yet, I guarantee you will. At some point in your future, you're going to forget that this is y minus k. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're just going to put -4 as your center, and that is wrong. You have to match up the minus k and the minus 4, and so k and 4 match up, so the center is 4. All right? Then radius, r squared equals 1. So r, take the square root of both sides. So r is going to equal 1. So I go to my center, which is 0, 4. I go 1 in every direction and sketch my little thing. If you still are uncertain about this, if you still feel a little iffy, it's okay. Write down your questions and see if you can get through the rest of the video, okay? So, moving on. Where this thing gets difficult, not difficult. Another layer of complexity is to see if I'm going to drop this off the front of my desk. But also, we're going to go the other way. So we're going to take our center and our radius, and we're going to write down our standard form of our equation, okay? So if you remember from our standard form of our equation, we had x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, okay? And we said our center was just going to be h and k, right? And our radius is going to be r. Okay? So we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to take our center and plug it into h and k. We'll take our radius and plug it into r. Alright? So when we do that, we're going to have an x minus, our x coordinate for our center is 14. So x minus 14 squared plus the y coordinate for our center is 12. Y minus 12 squared. You see, I'm just taking my 12, I'm plugging it in, taking my 14, plugging it in, and then 3 plug it into r squared equals 3 squared. Right? Don't forget that squared. I know someone will, and it's going to make me so sad when you forget the squared. But yeah, so x minus 14 squared plus y minus 12 squared equals 9. Make sense? The same thing for the next one. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. We're going to plug everything in. So we're going to have x minus, plug in the negative 1 squared plus y minus k is 2 squared. You see, negative 1 is going into h, 2 is going into k, and it's going to be equal to r radius squared. Okay, and then we simplify, so it becomes x plus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 144. Does this make sense? Is this okay? If it's not, once again, just write down your question and we can look at it when you come in. Okay? So, I'm going to pause the video here, so it might be broken up into 2 videos tomorrow. I'm sorry if it is, but I just ran out of time. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. And yeah, see you in the next video.